Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. So this week patrons voted on having me paint water reflection, and I'm excited about this. And I just wanted to remind you guys, if you want to give a vote on a topic I should teach next or see these tutorials ad-free, check out the Patreon page. It'll be on the description or the link up here. And we're gonna get straight to it, and let's go over the materials needed for today. For brushes, we need blending brush set, or just one if you have one. That should work. We need some of these Artist Loft brushes. This is a number 6 and this is a number 4. Any 1/2 inch flat brush and any detail brush. And we need an artist sponge. And they come in a pack, so pick and choose. And you can also rip them up and make them smaller. I made mine a bit smaller right there and found a corner that I like to use. So find yours, experiment on your palette, and we're using a 16 by 20 inch canvas here. And depending on the size of the canvas, and since we're working a bit smaller, that's why I made mine a bit smaller. But there's different sizes you can pick and choose. All right, for paints, I like to use acrylics, and we need titanium white, cadmium medium yellow, naphthol medium red, ultramarine blue, and carbon black. Some of these brushes and paints are available on my website. If you check out the link in the description, you'll see it there. But you can use any paints or acrylics or brushes you have available. Test them out, experiment, see what works best for you. Of course, we need a palette to mix our shades, a palette knife, and what I've got here, I've got the palette sheets, and it's just saves me time. After I'm done, I just rip it out and throw it away, rather than cleaning and trying to scrub everything off. But that's what I'm using. We need some paper towels, water jar, and I think that'll be it for materials. And if you do have a hairball dryer to dry out your first coats, use that. But if you don't, that would be a good time to take a break, have a snack or coffee or something before your layer dries. Before we start mixing paint, I'll quickly describe what we're going to do. So we're going to have a nice blend of colors in our sky, and it's going to reflect onto the water, and we're not going to add any clouds. We're going to leave it nice and clean, and then we're going to add some faraway trees and then close-up tall trees, and those trees are going to be reflecting onto the water. And then we're going to, right here on the bottom, add some tall grass. And let's see what happens and have fun. Let's first pick up our titanium white, and we're going to create some shades in our sky. And so I like to start with the light color first. So let's add some white right here, some white right here, some white right here, about the same amount, and then a little less here. So almost about, each time I'm putting a little less right there, okay? Maybe 2 thumbs. And I might add more, we'll see, Once I mix some paint, we'll see how it turns out. And every time I, take my paint away, I put a lid on so that it won't dry up. Now let's pick up our yellow. And let's add a little bit here, a little more here, and a touch right here, and that's it. Right about there. Let's move on and pick up our red. And we're going to add red right in here, just a little touch, okay? Just a small one. And then a little more here, and then a little more here. like this. Okay, and then here we're going to add red, just red by itself, like this, about this much. Okay, see what I did there? I did the lightest colors, white going into, but I added a little more white, so we have white the most on my palette, but you could see the darkest, which is red, it's reversed. So there's red, and then it goes smaller and smaller, and just a little touch there. But this is what I have. Let's move on. Let's first, let's actually add a little bit of black to our red. And I think I'm going to add white on here as well. But I'll just add just a touch of black right in here. Very small amount, okay? Moving on. Like I said, I'll add white on there as well, just because I don't want it to be too dark. So let's add just a touch of white in here as well. Like this, right there. Okay, moving on. Let's pick up our palette knife and mix these colors first. So start with our lightest. And just mix them. It's going to be very bright still, as you could see. And then next will be like orangey, since we added red. Okay, our third shade is supposed to be a little more leaning towards red because we added a little more red. And white, you could see, like red pink. Okay, and then our fourth shade is supposed to be like a dark pink color, darker pink color, as you could see right there. Moving on, our final color here, we're going to create some more shades because we want our sky to be colorful. This will be our darkest in the sky. So you could see it's like a cherry color right here because we added white and a little bit of black to our red right there. So these are the one shade, so this is going to be more on the left side of the canvas. And now we want to add some blues, okay? So let's quickly mix some blues. And we're going to pick up our titanium white again and add about this much. Let's start with 3 right here. 3 shades of titanium white. And we're going to add a little bit of yellow. Just a little bit of yellow here, just a touch. And then a little bit here, and that's it. And then we're going to add blue. So let's pick up our ultramarine blue. And we've got these shades here. We're going to add a little bit right in here, just a touch, very small amount right there. Very, very small amount. And then a little more here, and then a lot more here. And then we're going to do the same thing we did. Let's just add it right here with the blue right here. and we're going to add a touch of black and white as well. Kind of what we did with that cherry darkest color right there. So let's add a touch of black. Just a touch. Very small amount like this. And a touch of white. About this much. There you go. Let's mix these real quick. So I'm going to quickly clean out my palette knife because I don't want to bring out too much of that dark cherry color. So I'm going to use a paper towel to quickly clean it out like this. Doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but you know, get most of it out. And then let's start with our lightest shade. There you go. Right there, it has that hint of green in there, yellow, which makes it like a nice, you know, light green, bluish color. This is a little darker, as you could see. Moving on, and then just white and blue. Since we're not adding clouds, we're going to make our sky colorful this time. Right here. And then our final color, this will be our darkest. So it'll look like grayish blue because we added a little bit of black. Right there. So these are the colors I have, and we're ready to lay down and mix our shades real quick on our canvas. So let's pick up our fluffy brush and water and dab our brush halfway in the water like this, and then just squeeze it out. Not too hard, you want some water still in there, you know, but just to make it nice and damp and wet. And we're going to start with this yellow here. So let's quickly pick everything up right here. Just pick it up like this. And let's just put it right in here. And since this is going to be reflecting down, we're going to put it down like this as well. So roughly just put it just on this corner like this yellow. Okay. All right, next this orange is going to go right under, right above, and then same thing here underneath. Okay, just roughly. I'm going to dab my tip in the water to pick up my next shade, just the tip, and then let's pick up the pink and add it right on top like this. Okay, same thing here. Just roughly add it like this. Dab my brush in the water, just a tip. Moving on to the next, this hot pink that we have here, and just mix it in with the orange. And I'm going to stop right there. Add it in with the orange roughly, as you could see. Next, I'm going to dab my brush in the water and use the darkest. Now this will be our darkest in the sky, and we want to just cover everything with this color right here, just this corner. Okay. Dab my brush in the water, pick up the rest of this and put it underneath here. Okay, and now I'm gonna use the water jar to quickly, just lightly dab it, lightly in the water like this. Not too hard, you don't want to damage your brush, but just to clean it out, swirl it, clean out the paint. And then, and you want to work a little bit faster on this part so that the paint won't dry. And then squeeze the water out. And so like this, just real quick. And let's add our blues. So let's add the blues right in here. I'm going to dab my brush in the water, just the tip, and add the blues. Mix it in with this yellow. Just roughly, like this. It's okay if it's all messy. It looks messy in the beginning, that's all right. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water, pick up my green. Try to work a little bit quicker on this part, just because you want it to blend nicely, right? So you want to be able to have a bunch of color and everything to look nice and blended. So I'm adding this green really quick. Dab my brush in the water, just a tip. That's how I make my painting from drying quick, is because water helps. So I'm gonna add it right in here, this blue, this beautiful blue, like this. Pick up the rest of this blue, mix it in with the green, and then of course our final blue, this darkest blue right here. And just add it in on top right here. Just cover everything. Same thing here. Just blend it in with the red too, it's okay. Just a nice rough blend right there. All right, now we're gonna pick up our second brush, fluffy one. And if you have one, you would do the same thing, clean it out quickly, dry it with a paper towel, swirl it gently. But to save time, I have two. And I'm gonna quickly start from this corner and just slightly press and carry the paint upwards. As you can see, I'm lightly pressing. I'm not carrying the darks down. I'm carrying it upwards, you could see. And let's start with just the top right here, this one first. And then we'll focus on blending that one. But just try to, work fast on this part. You could see it's a little rough. We're going to blend in this part right here. It's okay if it's a little bit messy, because that's our first blend right here. Since this is a reflection, I'm just going to quickly do this for fun. Okay. Now I'm going to clean my brush in the water. Clean it, roughly clean it, and then use a paper towel lightly, and then so that I won't carry the darks with my lights, and swirl it on like this. Okay, just like this. And then since my brush is damp, you can see it's still blending nicely. And continue where I left off. quickly blend in this and then do the same process. Same idea. Clean my brush. Squeeze out the water. And then gently press it onto the paper towel. Swirl it on. And my paint is still wet because I added some water in there. Just swirl it. And then we're going to go back from the bottom. And since my brush is damp, you could see it's still blending nicely. And don't worry about the hairs on the canvas. Do not try to pick them out. Blend everything. There's a few might come out, but that's okay. Every brush does that. Just keep blending it while the paint is still wet. Gently pressing onto the canvas. And then once the paint is dry, I'll show you how to take those out. Really easy. So I'll do this a few times. I'm going to do this one more time to get the nice smooth blend. So I squeezed it out, cleaned it out again with a paper towel, and I'm going to start from the lightest area again. And since my brush is damp, it blends in nicely still. And if your brush starts to dry out, just dab the tip of the brush into the water, and you could see. Continue blending. And do it until you like the smoothness and how it looks. So just go back and forth, and don't try to bring that dark down too much. If that happens, just go back, clean out your brush real quick, just dab it. You don't need to dab it. You could just, just go like this. Just go gently like this and squeeze out the water gently from your brush. And then gently use a paper towel so you won't have too much water, and swirl it. And your brush is still going to be damp. And then go back and blend that in. You see how nice that works? And here, I'm going to try to blend this in. So I'm going to clean my brush. So just clean it real quick. And it's damp, so I'm going to quickly just go like this. Since this is our reflection, I don't want it to be, it doesn't have to be too perfect. You could see, you know, the water here like this, so I'm going to do this instead of blending it too perfect. Just with the water. Okay, once you got the blend, you know, back and forth, doing the same technique, once you got it down, you can, while it dries, you can quickly just rinse out your water jar and clean out these brushes, and we can move on. Okay, so now that I cleaned my brushes and got new water, I will quickly finish drying everything out with my hair blow dryer. All right, now that the background is dry, you could see a few of the hairs. Remember we talked about that? See, just scratch it off and it comes out super easily. It doesn't damage the paint or anything, so it's right there. See how easy that comes out? And just scratch it out very easily. Right there, see? It came out right there. Very nice and easy. Just pluck it out. It doesn't damage the paint, like I said. And that's it. Nice, clean. We can move on and no problem. All right, now we can move on, and I want to add a nice glow effect on my water, so I'm going to take my clean fluffy brush, dab it just a tip in the water, just a tip in the water right here. I'll show you, just like this, just a little bit, squeeze it out, and then just take yellow, just straight out of the tube, yellow, and we're gonna just a little bit. You could see it's mainly water, but I took just a little bit of this yellow onto my brush right here, and I'm gonna just add it right in here. I want to make a nice glow effect, so I'm gonna spread it out everywhere. Just blend it, carry it out like this, swirl it in gently, just with water and yellow. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water, just a tip, pick up some more yellow, just a little bit, because I wanted to make it more orangey, my sunset here. And with the water, I'm going to blend everything in. So dab my brush in the water, just a tip. Okay, I'm going to put it right in here. Mainly I'm using water, so this is just a very, very small amount of yellow. So make sure you don't pick up too much of that color. All right, and there you go. And I'm going to quickly dry that out. All right, moving on. So we've got a little bit of black right here and a little more black here, and to save paint, I don't want to waste this. I'm going to pick up this orange. If you have it, if you don't, that's okay. Just mix it in. Basically just add yellow and white and you'll get this like color right here if you don't got this one. And what I'm going to do is create like a grayish green color. So I'm going to actually take all of this piece of green that we have here and make it like grayish green, okay? Right there, as you could see. I'm going to create some background trees, and I want it to be light. I don't want it to be super dark. And then this one's just black, and then what I'm going to do is actually add just a little bit of green to this one. Just a little bit of, a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red to my black. I'll show you real quick. And sometimes, like you can add more and more layers back and forth and get the very nice smooth layer, but it's just going back and forth. But we're moving on, and don't worry about like trying to, you know, make it too perfect, because we're going to add trees and a lot of this is going to be covered and you won't see some of the brush strokes or something if you have them on the canvas. So don't worry too much about this. We just wanted to cover our base down on the canvas, and that's what we did here. But anyway, let's move on. And we have black, touch of red and yellow, and I'm going to quickly mix that in. And that'll be our darkest color. For now, we'll leave these two shades. Okay, so right there, it's still very dark. It almost looks like it's like a dark brown color. Okay, so now let's pick up our number 6 artist loft brush right here. Well, first actually let's draw our horizon. So let's pick up our flat brush. Okay, dab it in the water to make a damp, and then we're going to pick up this gray. Okay, I'm going to dab it in the water so it can run smoothly, as you could see. And I'm going to draw my horizon. Okay, so I want to have it be right about almost centered, wherever you want it to be. So the horizon line will be here. And I'm eyeballing it, okay? You can always fix it up, you know, try to make it straight. You can use masking tape too if you want. But basically, try to make a nice, smooth, straight line. About right there. Take your time. Once you have like a straight line that you're happy about, we're gonna go ahead and add our trees using the same color. And let's just continue using this flat brush first. And let's add the trees about this high. Start from here, and I'm kind of dabbing it and pulling it down. Okay, like this. And just cover everything with this color first. Make some tall ones. Just dab it and blend everything in. Okay, moving on. Let's add some in here, small ones. Just far away, small ones. Maybe make some taller ones. Totally up to you. Continue using the same idea, same brush. Taking more paint. These are far away trees. Make some of them taller, some of them smaller. Very nice and easy, okay. And then here you can take just a little bit of black, just a small touch, okay? And just add it on some of these closer ones, randomly. So I'm going to actually dab my brush in the water. Take a little bit more of this darker color, maybe. Okay, just with the water. And black, a little bit of that. So I'm going to continue. I'm not going to add it everywhere, but just blend it in with the gray. Okay, really roughly, quickly. Right there. Since these are closer, I'm adding a little more darker ones up here. Okay, really quick. All right, so we got the quick sketch. Now remember I added this white. I'm going to quickly just clean out my palette with a paper towel so I won't carry too much of the darks, and just take whatever's left, mix it in with the white. I don't want it pure white, so that's why I'm just kind of using whatever color I have left. I'm trying to make it like an orangey color. So I'll take whatever I have left here. It doesn't have to be a specific color. You just don't want to use a straight white out of the tube. Yours can turn out a little differently. That's totally fine, okay? So right there. And now we're going to take detail brush and dab it in the water, fully in there, and just pick up this color right here. Just swirl it on there, and you could see I'm using more water right here. And then we're just quickly going to add little far away trees, like I'll show you. Just go straight up and down, like there are a lot of trees far in the back. Use your finger to kind of blend everything in. Lightly, you could see. Just with water, dab your brush in water. Pick up more of this color. And barely press your brush into the canvas, okay? Barely. Okay. And don't go all the way up, just right in the middle of the trees, okay? Right in the middle. Skip some, you know. And then here, I'm gonna make some of them a little taller and lighter. As you could see, they start to look like trees, far away ones. Maybe make it, some of them a little lighter here. And then with the flat brush, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to take some of this color right here, not too much, and then maybe add it right underneath. Really quick, just on some of them. And I'm gonna dab this color in here for fun. Just a little bit. Right there. Now I'm going to quickly take my number 4 Artist Loft brush right here, dab it in the water, and I have some yellow here, just yellow. And I want to make some of these a little bit, actually mix it in with the white. I don't want it too yellow. Right there. Just take some of this and with water, mix it in with the white. I want to make some of these a little bit more brighter. And not too much. So you could see it's mainly, it's like watercolor almost, right? We're just using a little bit of this yellow and white and just randomly adding it right here. You could see, I'm going to skip some. Right, and then you can use your finger to just dab it, you know, blend those in real quick. There you go, right there. Just a nice quick, you know, background trees. We can move on to the next thing. Now we're gonna take our Artist Loft number 6 brush, dab it in the water, and let's add, I'll show you what I'm doing in a sec, some yellow and red into our gray color that we have. I'll show you. Right here. Remember this leftover gray? I'm going to add a little bit of yellow and a touch of red. I'm just going to mix that in. It's going to give us like this, almost like a brownish greenish color right here. And we're going to start with a black right here and dab it in the water so it can run smoothly. And then we're going to just start from here, from this corner, and we're going to just dab it, maybe pull it up a little bit and carry it, maybe bring it down a bit and then go back up. And then here you want to go maybe a little higher. And then bring it down. Until we get to this area. And then just you could see I'm just pulling the paint up. Very, very lightly. Okay, moving on. using the same color, this black, and then now I'm gonna draw quickly how it's gonna look, and then bring it down here and then just fade it out right here like this. Okay, maybe bring it down like this. I'm gonna dab my brush in the water using the same color. Just add the black on the bottom, skip some of them as you can see, because we're going to take this green now and just fill it in real quick. Cover the rest of those empty spaces. With this darker green. Okay, moving on. You can see I'm roughly doing this because this is just my base. So I'll add more details to it later as we go along. But we just want a base, kind of sketch out bring the paint down a little bit here. Okay, that's good enough. We're going to come back to it later. So I'm going to quickly dry this out, and we're going to come back to adding a little more details on it. Okay, moving on. Now that it's dry, I'm going to just take a little bit of the yellow and take part of this green here and blend it in real quick. That'll give us a lighter green, a brighter green right here. Just a quick shade. Now I'm going to use that artist loft brush number 6, clean out my darks just in the water jar, and then use the paper towel to kind of dry it out. But it's still damp, but not too wet. So I'm going to quickly just dab it right here. See how nice that is? I'm going to just dab it onto, not take too much of this color. And right here, since the light is hitting this area the most, I'm going to just randomly dab it in some of these areas. Not everywhere, but just a little bit to create some texture and bushy reflections from the light. Just on the top, just on some of them really quick. Creates a nice glow. Maybe even use some of this lighter color. Remember here? Dab it in there, and then let's quickly add that like this. Now I'm gonna use my number 4 Artist Loft brush just with water, just clean it out, and I'm going to just try to blend some of these in, just on some of them. Not everywhere, but just some of them. Maybe take the darker one, put it underneath. I want the darker to be more underneath. We're going to come back with more details in a bit, but just to get our base in a few layers down. There you go. That's good right there. We want the more darker areas to be on the bottom right here, as you could see. All right, moving on. Let's add our trees. So I'm gonna use my 1/2 inch brush, clean it out, and just dab it in the water, just a corner, and take this darkest color that we have here. You could see I don't want to take too much paint, but you could see I'm taking a little bit of it and kind of making it smooth right there. Now let's draw out our trees, and you can make them as tall as you want, but I'm going to make mine starting here. I'm going to go about this high, so very, very quick. I'm going to try to copy that here and fade it out, okay? And then here I have my Artist Loft brush right here, number 4, and I'm just going to quickly, just with the wet brush, just quickly go back and forth, you know, and fade it out like this. Use your finger and fade it out. We're going to add more detail to this, but just to create, you know, ripples in the water of the reflection. So just okay. And just fade it out like this. And then we're going to draw another one next to it. Maybe a smaller one. It doesn't have to be perfect, so use your Artist Loft brush and just on some of them blend it in and carry it out like this. Okay, very rough. Moving on, let's add one right in here. Let's make this one tall, nice and tall. Okay, copy that down. Use your Artist Loft brush to quickly blend it in and just carry it out. And we're going to add more details here on the bottom, but just sketch it out like this roughly. Okay, moving on. We're going to add one right next to it. Let's make it go up here, sideways. And then here, you can, you know, since it's reflecting, you got to kind of go like this. And just fade it out. Okay, and use the Artist Loft brush. Just like that. Moving on, I'm using this black and a little bit of water so that it'll run smoothly, so I can make nice and skinny lines on my canvas. So I'm going to continue and draw a straight line here, straight tree. Let's make this one tall. Let's go. Nice and tall. We'll add detail to them in a bit. Try to copy that and just carry it down. All right. Since my artist loft is wet and nice and, you know, damp, and the paint is still wet, I just go back and forth like this, just on some of them. You want some of it to be straight, so skip, as you can see what I'm doing here. Moving on. So, with the same color, we're going to continue and add another tall one. Right next to it, like this. And as they go higher, they get skinnier, so keep that in mind. You can see what I'm doing. So, right about there, and I'm trying to copy that. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water so it can run smooth. Okay, moving on. Dab my brush in the water. Let's skip and go about right in here. Let's make it about this high. Trying to make him skinny. All right, use my artist loft brush, go back and forth, just moving on. Dab my brush in the water. Let's make this one even wider and not as high. Let's go like this. Okay, use my artist loft brush. Don't worry about some of these. We'll come back and detail them later, but just get your sketch down first. Just adding some shadows on the bottom of the trees. Okay, moving on. Let's add one right in here. a skinny one. Okay. Dab my brush, artist lock brush in the water. I'm going to make this a little darker right here. And let it fade out right there. Okay, moving on, a few more. We're almost there. Let's add a small one. Just like that. Oops. And then here, I'm going to use my detail brush, dab it in the water, and I'm going to create some branches. So let's now, with a detail brush and water, swirl it and just add crazy branches here. And you don't need to do that reflection. We're just going to add just this here, because we're going to add grass in our water, and so our reflections is going to be a little bit different, but you know, you can always add it if you want. You could see I'm just randomly adding the branches. With water, so I can get nice and thin lines. So I'm going to dab my brush in the water and pick up more of this color. Maybe add a few. Just really quick, maybe add one in here. Okay, moving on. Going to add a few more little tall grass here or something. Moving on with water. I'm always dabbing my brush in water. I'm going to create some of these branches on this tree and just try to bring them out like this. Okay. It's okay if it overlaps a bit. Just really quick, add those in there with water and this dark color. Maybe a few in here. Okay, moving on. Let's add a few small skinny ones. Just going like this, maybe reflect that lightly. Not all of it, reflect it, just go down like this and fade it out. There you go, that's good enough. Let's add one in here, maybe going like this. So let's add that. Oops. Okay. Basically, whatever you add, try to reflect that. You don't need to add the details right here and you have it exactly be reflected onto the water. Moving on, dabbing my brush in the water, swirling it, and adding more details here on this tree. Okay, this one I'm gonna add like a little branch here, like this. And just fade it out. We're gonna use our artist sponge here, so don't spend too much time trying to add these branches. Like this, really roughly. Maybe add next to this one, add just a straight tall one. Like this. Okay, I'm barely pressing the canvas and I'm sliding it down, you know, and pulling it down softly. So now let's add a few branches here. And you know, you don't need to spend too much time. We're going to come back detailing the branches in a bit, but let's move on. Let's add a few in here. Basically, I'm adding more branches on top than on the bottom, as you could see. I'm making them smaller right here. Okay, moving on with water and this dark color. Let's just start from here. Let's add branches that will kind of almost go off the canvas like this. Okay, so dabbing my brush in the water, I'm always doing that to take more black so it can run smoothly on my canvas. Moving on. It's okay that I smeared some here. I'm gonna add those into like make it more bushier, so that's no worries. Let's add a skinny one straight up. Dab my brush in water, pick up more and just carry it up like this. All right, that's good enough. Let's move on. This is the fun part. So now we're gonna dab our Artist Loft sponge right here. Let's dab our brush in the water, fully in there, or I mean our sponge, to make it nice and, you know, damp. And find your corner. We're gonna use the same black color right here, this dark color that we mixed, and find a corner that you like and test it out on your palette. And then once you found, you know, your corner, we're gonna go ahead and add texture to our trees. And by just dabbing gently, not hard, because if you dab hard, it's gonna create like it won't be as texture-ish. So just on some of the areas right in here. Okay, I'm gonna skip some, and as you can see, I am adding just on some of these trees, not everywhere, just on some of them. Skipping some. You could see very lightly. Okay, moving on. Let's make this one a bit taller. Like that. Moving on, add some in here, and as it goes down, it's gonna kind of split. Like this. You know, we're gonna have more of it up here. Okay. So I'm going to make it darker mainly on top, and then have it fade into, you know, more smoother. I mean, less of it here. Okay, so let's move on. Let's add some in here, maybe not as much here. That's good enough there. Let's add a little bit here as well. Not too much on this one. You know, space it out, make sure it's evenly, spaced. And I'm using just a little corner here. and adding my texture. Following the branches is what I'm doing. So let's make this one a little taller. You know, and follow your branches. Take more. Okay. Moving on. Yours could look a little different than mine. Just have fun with this, see where it takes you. Let's add some on this one. Very lightly. Follow your branches. All right, that's good enough right there. I don't want to add too much. That's good right there. All right, now I'm going to put my sponge. Actually, let's use, remember this green that we mixed? Let's take some of this and just quickly add a little bit of this green onto our tree, just a little bit, not everywhere. Just skip some and just there you go. Just quickly add it on a few areas there. And now we're going to use our artist loft brush right here, and this is a number 6, and I'm going to use the same color right here, this darkest color we have here. I'm going to dab it, and since it's kind of flat, you could see it's creating nice, almost similar to this texture. So I'm going to go over and follow the branches and follow some of the branches and make them a little more darker. Okay. Skip some areas, you know. Alright, and then with a detail brush, you can, same color, kind of what we did in the beginning with adding the branches, swirl it and then connect some of these branches, you know, make them skinny and small, and follow the, you know, connect some of these up here. Not everywhere, but just, you know, go over some of these. Make them stand out a bit more. So dab my brush in water. And there you go. Alright, I'm going to use the detail brush and continue with this dark color here with water. And I think I'm going to add a few more tall ones. Like this. Try to copy that and fade it out. And then one more. Dab my brush in water so it can run smooth. I think I'm going to add one in here as well. Like this. There you go. And now I'm going to take my number 4 Artist Loft brush, dab it in the water. And I have yellow and red. I'm just going to take a little bit of the yellow and red and just mix it in, try to make it like a orangey color. Right there, orangey color, but you could see I still have water in my brush, so I just want to make some of this area a little bit more yellow. And just the water here. Use my finger to kind of blend those areas in. But I just want to make it kind of rough and stand out a little more. So I'm going to add it right here. Maybe even add it in here as well. Carry it down a bit. Oops, right here. And just carry it. Roughly blend it in. Right there. Just like that. I just wanted to make it a little more yellow. And then I'm gonna, with this green here, take part of this green and try to add some reflections. So I'm gonna dab my brush in the water and clean it out so I won't get too much of the color. Work transparent. So just with the water and this green, I'm gonna go straight like this. roughly. And maybe take part of this black in here. And then just slightly transparently clean it out with your finger. And if you don't like something, like I don't really like that, that was a little too much, I'm going to dab my paper towel in water and just clean it out like this. Very nice and easy. Maybe even clean some of this out so it won't be too, I know, I'm trying to make it kind of transparent. So take just water and a little bit of black. See, that's too much. I'm going to clean it with, just dab it in the water, you know, and make sure I have a little bit of this color right here. And just, you see, right there, that's what we want. And just go back and forth on some of this. Okay. Not everywhere, just a little bit. We want the water to be, you know, still looking. Okay, and then maybe a few more here. Okay. Just like that. You can see very, very little. I'm going to switch my brush into this one now, number 6, Artist Loft, and just doing the same thing with water and a little bit of black. And I want to create a few reflections a little bit longer here, going down, just pulling it down a bit on some of these. Okay. Just like that. Okay, just a few more here. And we'll work on adding the grass right here in the water. So right there with the water and a little bit of black. That's good enough right there. Now let's add just black. I ran out, so I'm going to mix some more black and then a little bit of red and a touch of yellow, which I already have. Let's just take, you know, these two, whatever, just a touch of yellow with black and red here. It's going to be very dark, so just we just want to make it look like dark brown color or red or green. It's okay. I just, yeah, so leaning towards more red. You could see the way you can test is by going like this. You could see, I don't know if you could see that on the camera, but it's leaning towards red more instead of just black. Okay, right there. And I mean, you could use black straight out of the tube, that's fine as well, but you know, I like to mix my own shades and kind of create my own little highlights. So now let's just take the same brush, this flat brush, and take part of this, and let's just draw out some tall little That's where the grass will be. So I'm just pulling it upwards. Not everywhere, you could see. I'm just skipping some areas, but some areas I'm making it more darker. But you could see what I'm doing. I'm going to dab my brush in the water just really quick. This is just our base of the grass. It doesn't have to be perfect. And carry it out all the way up in here. Okay, just like that. Very quick and rough. And now we're gonna dab a little bit of the dark in here. Okay. All right, that's good enough there. And now we're going to take our detail brush, and with the detail I'm going to dab my brush in the water, use the same color and kind of the same thing what we did with the branches, but we're going to swirl it and use water and just loop these. So start from far, loop them going that way, like the wind is kind of blowing a little bit. So start far away, some could be a little taller, you know, just make it very very easy, like this. Swirl it. And I'm barely touching the canvas. Constantly dabbing my brush in the water, swirling, and barely touching the canvas, okay? Take your time, you don't need to do it as fast as I'm doing it right here. This is totally up to you. You can totally go like this and take your time, you know what I mean? And add as much as you want your grass. So dabbing my brush in the water. Okay, continuing. Constantly dabbing my brush in the water. Every time I move my brush away, I'm either picking up more paint or you could also go like this, down as well as you get closer. Okay, switch it up a little bit, See, I'm barely touching it, swirling it. Let's actually keep it that way. Let's go, because now we're closer. We're just gonna keep doing, doing the same motion here. add some in here for fun. Couple black dots, some maybe there's stuff in the water, maybe those are little branches and leaves, you know, just all these little details add up, and you know, and it becomes a nice picture. It's totally up to you how long you want to spend on something. And where you want to take it. There's some in here. you know, and then switch it up, make them a little more circular, you know, like this, some of them. Not all of them, but just on some of them. And add as much as you want. Have fun with this. Totally up to you. Using the same color. There you go. All right, and then pick up our number 6 Artist Loft brush. Use the same color with water and, you know, just go over some of these just with the black and water. Fade it out right here. Okay. Right there. That's good. Okay. Now we're going to add green. A little bit of green. So yellow and white. And a touch of blue. I'll show you. Right here. Yellow, white, and a touch of blue, just a little bit. I want a lighter green color. Okay, just like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want a lighter green color. And then we're going to take this color and with water, doing the same idea. Very easy, same idea, water and some of this. I'm dabbing my brush in the water fully and then swirling the paint, making it soft. Okay, like this. Swirl it, and then once you have that, you go and create the same idea, just go over some of these and add some highlights on your grass. Okay. Not everywhere, just maybe skip a few, maybe make some small ones. You know, like this, as you could see. It's just this color. And really quickly add in that green color. just like this. Maybe even add this using this brush, number 6, and maybe even add a little bit in here. Just a little more brighter green. There you go. Okay. I'm going to take the black now. And add it just in here, just a little bit. Maybe even use this just a little black in here to make it a little more, to make this stand out a little more. Just water and black, you could see. Maybe on the bottom. Some of these trees behind. Makes the forest stand out a bit more. And you can add as much detail as you want. Totally up to you. I always say this. Doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Have fun. See how yours could turn out. You can add as much trees as tall as you want them. You know, your grass. You know, however you want that to be. So just have fun. I'm gonna add, for fun, a few more trees right in here. Maybe one going up like this. Just because I want this area to be busy, but yours could be as it is. Just have fun. Like I said, does not need to look like mine. I think I'm going to add one in here. Maybe one in here. A few smaller ones in here. I'm having fun right now. And for a final few details, I'm gonna take this green that we have mixed it in the water with the detail brush and just draw out some of these highlights like this. You know, not everywhere, but just on some of them. Okay. Just like this. That's good enough right there. And there you go. You know, I can detail it and spend time adding whatever I want. You can have fun, but this is a quick sketch of this reflection of the trees and a nice blend of the sky. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. Thank you for tuning in and being patient. I hope this was helpful. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. And if this was helpful, please be sure to like and subscribe and share this video. And stay tuned for next week's tutorial. Have fun and take care and God bless.